Apex raises over $200 million, valuation to $2.3 billion. Glade Brooks backing lets Apex book component orders 18 months out, securing supply that smaller teams cannot guarantee. Satellite builders cut custom work by 60% and move from contract to launch in 14 months. Primes that relied on those margins now watch volume disappear. Northrop Grumman must either accelerate its own bus program or accept lost bids on constellations under 50 satellites by 2026. GM bets $900 million on LMR battery tech. GM's spend targets a cell format that removes cobalt while holding energy density above 250 watt-hours per kilogram. Battery partners must now decide whether to co-develop LMR stacks or lose the next high-volume platform slot. The development center in Michigan also creates a hiring moat for electrochemists who might otherwise join Asian suppliers. Expect LG Energy Solution to counter with its own LMR licensing push within 9 months. Public toning Dodges are framed $10.5 billion. The Series G lines up manufacturing ahead of any operating fusion machine reaching the grid. This forces Axon to either license similar detection capabilities or lose bids where command center interoperability is specified. RFPs will start listing counter-drone features by the next budget cycle in most major cities. Failure to match the capability will cost Axon at least 3 major metro contracts over the next year. Anduril engineer raises $42 million for composites. Production contracts, not further development milestones, will determine the next valuation step for the platform. Defense primes must now decide whether to outsource composite fabrication or continue building internal capacity at higher cost. Expect the first orders from 2 primes within 12 months if the company hits its yield targets on the initial lines. Smaller suppliers face margin pressure once scale economics favor the new entrant. The trajectory points to a follow-on round at double the valuation inside 2 years. ClickHouse ARR triples to $250 million. Enterprise procurement teams just moved ClickHouse from proof of concept to production standard in the same quarter most CFOs froze new database spend. That timing leaves Snowflake defending its per-credit pricing against an open-source alternative that now shows 3 times the scale. Expect the next Databricks partnership announcement to bundle Lakehouse features at a discount, or watch attach rates fall as procurement offices run side-by-side benchmarks. Strava fights scrapers ahead of IPO. Scraping defenses announced now suggest the real target is cleaning historical activity logs before underwriters demand user engagement quality metrics. Garmin and Peloton both integrate Strava feeds today. Either they sign paid data agreements by the time the IPO roadshow begins, or their workout attribution claims lose credibility with developers building third-party training plans. The same controls raise validation costs for any mapping service that has used public heat maps to train route algorithms. New quantum startup Quobbly funding round, €115 million at this stage of quantum hardware, tells you the capital markets have stopped funding simulator software and started demanding silicon. IonQ and Rigetti now face term sheet pressure to show comparable error rates on actual devices rather than simulated ones. The round size also signals that French sovereign funds are treating quantum as strategic infrastructure, not basic research. Watch the next automotive supplier deals. Any delay hands Quobbly the first cryo-COMOS controller design wins. Precision Biosciences raises $37 million. The share offering plus warrant structure reveals management expects further dilution before any pivotal data readout reaches investors. Existing partners waiting on in vivo editing milestones must now accelerate their option exercises or risk the program being shelved once the new shares price. Clinical timelines for the lead candidate therefore slip another 6 months as cash is rationed across 2 parallel efforts, early lithium, before Chinese refiners flood the market with cheaper lithium salts. If the pilot meets spec by late 2025, 2 mid-tier European automakers will face a choice between paying premiums or redesigning packs around lower-density cathodes. Existing suppliers tied to Korean gigafactories now have 18 months to match the cost curve or lose shelf space in the next platform refresh for mass-market EVs. Sakona Battery $22 million Series A. The real question is how fast Himadri can move the chemistry from pilot to the 10,000-ton line they already operate for graphite. Sakona's silicon anode process claims 40% higher energy density at the same cost point. Japanese pack makers now have to decide whether to dual source or accept higher royalties once volume contracts get renegotiated in 2026. That choice will ripple straight into cell pricing for two major truck programs already behind schedule on range targets. BTWI AG raises $5.7 million seed. $5.7 million buys a thin film line in Zurich that can already ship to medical device customers. The oversubscription came from two strategic investors who want the batteries for sensor tags, not EVs. Medical OEMs must now qualify this source before their next regulatory filing cycle closes, or stay locked into thicker legacy cells for another 2 years. Component suppliers in the same corridor are already adjusting their assembly tolerances to match the new form factor before prototypes ship. Ionic Wind secures $2.1 million pre-seed. Airflow without moving parts sounds like a lab curiosity until you see the power draw on fully loaded server racks. The pre-seed round came with a hardware partner already testing units in edge data centers. Rack designers now face a redesign window before liquid cooling mandates tighten in 2 European countries by the end of next year. That pressure will force fan vendors to cut prices sharply or bundle acoustic upgrades they have avoided for years on specific enterprise lines. AA Vanguard $141 million Series B. $141 million gives the company 3 programs into clinic without needing another raise until approval. The co-leads all have portfolio companies that need viral vector capacity, not just financial returns on the current market terms. CDMOs that currently handle AAV production will see margin pressure once internal capacity comes online in 18 months. Smaller gene therapy developers without similar backing will pay more for the same slots or delay their own timelines by at least a year.